Carla, what am I making?
2 vodka gimlets. 1 straight up, 1 blended rocks. 1 Chivas rocks, soda. A Comfort Manhattan hold the cherry. A white wine spritzer with a twist. 1 old Bushmill Irish decaf hold the sugar.
Shelley Long's portrayal of Diane Chambers on Cheers propelled her to fame in the United States. She did more than just assist make the program a hit. She solidified her position as one of the all-time greats of American comedy. Still, Shelley Long made an unexpected choice. She quit Cheers while she was at the peak of her career. This decision sent shockwaves across the entertainment industry and sparked numerous discussions, theories, and unanswered questions about the history of television. Why would a celebrity with a 6-figure income choose to quit the most watched program in America? Is she looking for a life free of celebrity or a life of less pressure? And most importantly, did it mark the correct choice or the start of a decline from being a top-tier star? Eventually, Long was no longer the center of attention. Years later, alarming allegations of her attempted suicide surfaced, adding to the turmoil in her personal life, which had already included a broken marriage and a deteriorating profession. Shelley Long opted to live a life away from the spotlight, even though her old colleagues kept doing well. She even disappeared in 2024, when the Cheers reunion was supposed to take place, leaving fans to wonder what happened to her. In reality, what transpired? Is Shelley Long missing out on anything since she left Cheers? Shelley Long was a Hollywood powerhouse who mysteriously disappeared. But her story is full of drama, twists, and never-before-revealed secrets from behind the scenes. Born into a middle-class family in Indian Village, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Shelley Long began her life on August 23, 1949. Iodine was a teacher, and Leland Long was a former rubber worker who became a teacher. They had 1 child, a daughter. She developed a strong work ethic and analytical mind at a young age because to her upbringing in a home where both parents were teachers. Shelley has always had a strong desire to perform and communicate. She adored performing for live audiences and secretly wished she could channel the emotions of her characters via her words and movements. She became an outstanding member of the Indiana High School Forensic Association after joining the school's speech team while she was a senior in high school. Shelley Long went down in history as the National Forensic League's original oratory champion in 1967, when she was only 18 years old. The finest orators in the United States competed in this esteemed event, which was anything but ordinary. A talent that would serve Shelley well in her acting career, her ability to captivate an audience was on full display as she defeated formidable opponents with her sharp eloquence and undeniable stage presence. Shelley attended Northwestern University, widely regarded as one of the best theater schools in America, after finishing high school at Fort Wayne South Side. But she made the courageous choice to quit after only 2 years. The importance of work experience over formal education became clear to her. Shelley, unlike many of her classmates, decided to leave the safety of the classroom and seek out opportunities in the real world. Her first job in college wasn't on stage or in front of a camera, but rather inspecting student food menus, an unusual beginning for someone who would later become a television star. Chicago, a city known for its vibrant theater and arts scene, quickly became her new home. This choice would prove to be a turning moment in Shelley Long's life. She started working as a model, participating in theatrical performances, and taking on modest television assignments to get experience and explore the profession. Despite not coming from an entertainment background, Shelley Long, with her natural skill and tenacity, created a strong foundation for herself when she moved into the world of acting. After graduating college, Shelley Long wasted no time in building a reputation for herself in the entertainment sector. Instead of waiting for opportunities to come to her, she dived deeply into work, improving her acting talents and swiftly creating a unique presence. One of the most crucial milestones in her early career came when she joined Sorting It Out, a local television program in Chicago, where she not only hosted but also created scripts. This was more than simply an on-camera job. It allowed her to demonstrate her talents and establish that she was capable of much more than just acting. Her efforts to the program were vital to its success, garnering her 3 regional Emmy Awards, an extraordinary feat for someone still relatively new to the profession. While working in television, Shelley also became a member of the Second City comedy troupe, the famed improvisational company that had launched the careers of many top comedians in Hollywood. Second City was no place for the faint of heart. Performers have to generate humor on the spot. No scripts, no practiced lines. Either you made the crowd laugh, or you sank into oblivion. Shelley not only held her own, but rapidly established herself as a sharp-witted comedy performer with outstanding improvisational talents. As her reputation increased, Hollywood took notice. The 1986 action comedy Jumping Jack Flash, in which she appeared as the protagonist, seemed to be her big break and might have catapulted her into the A-list. However, everything was altered by an unforeseen twist of fate. Substituting at the last minute was Whoopi Goldberg, who would subsequently win an Academy Award for Ghost, 1990. Shelley was almost cast in another significant film part 2 years later as Celeste in My Stepmother is an Alien, 1988, but she was once again replaced, this time by Kim Basinger, who would go on to win an Oscar again. Then what transpired? Shelley Long had so many chances to make it great in Hollywood. Why did she pass them all up? Rumor has it that she wasn't as popular as other A-listers and that her comic timing wasn't right for action comedies. Some think Shelley was quite picky about the parts she would play. She would turn down projects unless she felt strongly about them. The fact that Shelley Long was disappointed twice by Hollywood blockbusters did not cause her to lose faith. Preparing for her life-altering role as Diane Chambers in Cheers, she kept going, even though other performers in her situation may have given up or settled for lesser parts. She became one of the most famous faces in 1980s television at this moment, and it also made her a real celebrity. However, unanticipated repercussions followed that achievement. Shelley Long's 1982 casting as Diane Chambers on the hit comedy Cheers was a career-defining role for the actress. Lisa Iorn and Julia Duffy were among the several actresses who first tried out for the role. Still, Shelley Long showed no signs of panic, in contrast to her competitors. She felt sure she had nailed the role. The filmmakers made sure that Diane and Sam Malone would have chemistry on screen by pairing each actress with one of the 3 actors who auditioned for the role of Sam. Something remarkable occurred when Shelley was ultimately matched with Ted Danson. Their chemistry was thrilling, and it utterly enthralled the production crew and NBC brass. The show's foundation was the chemistry between Diane, who was brilliant, meticulous, and a little bit haughty, and Sam, who was freewheeling, charming, and a playboy. This chemistry was crucial in turning a television program that looked destined for failure into a phenomenon in popular culture. When it initially aired, Cheers was thought to be a complete bust. In fact, it finished last out of 77 TV shows in its first season. Such pitiful ratings would have resulted in instant cancellation under normal circumstances. But NBC was willing to take a chance on the show because of its promise. In the end, it was the best choice. Although it got off to a shaky start, Cheers eventually found its following and went on to become a classic. Shelley Long's contribution to that achievement was undeniable. In 1983, she won an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress for her outstanding performance. She was nominated for 5 Emmys in all and won 2 Golden Globes. During the height of her success, she earned an incredible $450,000 each episode, which was a huge sum for the 1980s. Sharp writing, multi-layered characters, and an environment that encouraged interaction were the perfect recipe for the show's success. Smartly crafted to generate clever, fast-paced banter among the characters, the language in Cheers was more than just funny. Cheers was unique among workplace or family-based sitcoms since it took place in a warm and welcoming Boston bar where complete strangers became like family. In addition to serving as the show's theme song's opening lyric, "Where Everybody Knows Your Name," symbolized Cheers' ethos as a communal hub where strangers might feel at home. However, the most significant aspect that made Cheers a hit with viewers was its remarkable ensemble of characters, who were all distinct from one another yet worked brilliantly together. Norm Peterson, the beloved bar regular who was always welcomed with a resounding "Norm" the moment he walked in. Diane Chambers, the intellectual yet haughty waitress who constantly engaged in sharp-witted battles with Sam. Carla Tortelli, the tough and fiery waitress who possessed a talent for delivering insults that were both sharp and endearing. And Cliff Clavin, the mailman who philosophized about everything, whether anyone asked or not, were all characters in the story. Because of its unique cast of characters and their lasting impact on popular culture, Cheers went beyond being a simple comedy and became an icon in its own right. More and more, the show's most memorable scenes cemented its position in television history. A sign of camaraderie and acceptance, the now iconic Norm greeting is both simple and legendary. A classic love story on television, Sam and Diane's turbulent affair oscillated between love and hatred, passion and strife. The show's comedic value was enhanced by Cliff's incoherent and philosophically crazy speeches. The last sequence, in which Sam Malone subtly locks the door and turns out the lights in the pub, was a touching and subtle farewell to an 11-year run that had over 100 million people enthralled. And key cog in this success machine was Shelley Long. She brought a unique kind of sitcom character to the role of Diane Chambers, which was both a comic contrast to Sam and an example of the time. A strong, independent woman who was both flawed and emotionally sensitive. Unfortunately, Shelley Long startled Hollywood by announcing her resignation from Cheers after 5 seasons, right when she was at the height of her stardom. Her departure sparked a whirlwind of conjecture and shocked admirers alike. At her pinnacle, why would a famous person leave the most watched program in the United States? When was the actual behind-the-scenes action of Cheers? Years later, the truth would finally emerge about this choice. For all intents and purposes, Shelley Long was Diane Chambers. This is unusual for comedic performances, but she was so engrossed in her role that it was hard to tell her character apart from herself at points. Sam kissing Carla was one of the most revealing instances, as Diane himself watched. Shelley Long's genuine emotional breakdown stunned the whole team, even though it was all staged. She was as real as it got. She was devastated, just like Diane. In addition to her profound acting technique, Shelley Long was a stickler for detail. She and the authors would get into tense exchanges regularly to make sure Diane never changed. There was some tension on site as a result of this. Ted Danson said afterwards that he never said anything negative about Shelley, even though they had arguments during shooting. But tensions rose behind the scenes from time to time due to the never-ending arguments about lines of conversation, character interpretation, and acting direction. Not only did Ted Danson expose this in his biography, but Frasier Crane actor Kelsey Grammer also claimed that Shelley Long had wanted Frasier's character cut from the show, albeit this never happened. Personal difficulties were not resolved at the end of the narrative. Shelley Long's departure from Cheers was mostly due to the script's trajectory. Sam and Diane's will they, won't they tension, the question of whether their intense interaction would develop into a genuine relationship, has been at the center of Cheers' plot from the start. Unfortunately, the producers' unexpected choice to have them become a relationship too soon greatly diminished the dramatic tension going forward. In an effort to keep viewers interested, the authors toyed with the idea of Sam and Diane getting married and starting a family, but ultimately decided against it. Cheers may have ended far sooner if Shelley Long hadn't departed, writer Ken Levine admitted afterwards. He reasoned that the show's new trajectory, made possible by Diane Chambers' exit, enabled Kirstie Alley to carry it for an additional 6 seasons. This was a very personal decision for Shelley. It had nothing to do with the program whatsoever. Shelley Long was already coping with the stresses of the show and her creative block, and she had to add the enormous pressures of her job to the mix. Her mind and body were exhausted from the 5 days of intense filming that lasted 14 to 16 hours each day. More significantly, Her 1985-born daughter, Juliana, was growing up without her mother being as involved as she would have liked due to her chronic migraines and severe stress. Shelley Long departed Cheers not just to pursue her profession, but also to become a mother. Nevertheless, the Hollywood dream was also a consideration. Just like Mary Tyler Moore before her, Shelley Long thought she could make the leap to Hollywood and become a famous actress. Hollywood has never been simple, but with her current prominence, she anticipated opportunities to come readily. It was a bold move for Shelley Long to leave Cheers. Once Kirstie Alley took over, the show departed, but Cheers remained a top TV comedy. Unfortunately, Shelley Long's post-Cheers life was anything from easygoing. Despite her appearances in The Money Pit, co-starring Tom Hanks, Hello Again, Outrageous Fortune, and The Money Pit, none of her films after Cheers were successful enough to catapult her to Hollywood stardom. She was never able to regain the success she had once known. Ted Danson and Kelsey Grammer, two of her previous co-stars, were also quite successful in the television industry. Despite guest appearances on Frasier, Boston Legal, Modern Family, The Brady Bunch Movie, and The Brady Bunch Movie, Shelley Long's star continued to wane as she slipped from the limelight in Hollywood. Shelley Long was not present at the 30th anniversary party of Cheers. Again in 2024, when her old castmates got back together for a big event, she wasn't there. In response to a question about whether she regretted quitting Cheers, Shelley Long calmly stated, "I have no regrets. I just made the best decision for myself at that time." However, one may reasonably wonder if this was the correct choice. After Cheers, Shelley Long's star faded from the entertainment world. As a result of her own problems, which were even more tragic than her professional failures, she gradually sank into oblivion. Beyond her public persona in her private life, the most surprising discovery would emerge. Shelley Long had a short and somewhat unknown first marriage in the 1970s before she became famous on Cheers. The marriage she had with Ken Solomon did not endure and discreetly ended. Although details of Shelley's first marriage are scant, it was obviously a brief period in her life. She then went on to focus solely on her work for a number of years, until she met the man who appeared meant to be her soulmate. Shelley Long wed stockbroker Bruce Tyson in 1981, when she was still a rising star on television. It seemed like Shelley's marriage lasted more than 20 years, in contrast to her Cheers character Diane Chambers's perpetual love struggles. Shelley was able to follow her creative dreams without worrying about money thanks to Bruce Tyson, who was both her spouse and a solid financial supporter. She cited a desire to spend more time with her family as one among the reasons behind her contentious choice to depart Cheers during her career's pinnacle. Their marital harmony persisted for a long time, but when Shelley Long quit Cheers and started on a much darker road, things started to turn around. The films she worked on didn't go as well as she had hoped, and she started to feel the pinch of her professional setbacks. With one failing project after another, roles that no longer held the same impact, and the image of a fading star hovering over her, Shelley's mental condition grew increasingly unstable. Her marriage began to fall apart at the same time as her work was becoming more precarious. They emotionally distanced themselves from one another, talked less often, and eventually drifted away. Shelley Long and Bruce Tyson's 2004 legal divorce came after 23 years of marriage. If quitting Cheers was the most divisive move she made professionally, her divorce was the most personal setback. Not only did Shelley Long's lengthy marriage come to an end, but it also thrust her into one of her lowest points. Shelley Long's severe condition in the hospital in November 2004 shocked Hollywood just months after her divorce. News outlets ran with the story that Shelley Long had been located following what seemed to be an overdose, setting off a cascade of worrisome assumptions. Had she become hopeless? The People was shocked by the sensationalized media coverage. According to several reports, Shelley reportedly fell into a profound melancholy following her divorce and stopped attending large Hollywood events. She nearly disappeared from public view as she grew reclusive and cut herself apart from friends and co-workers. According to other accounts, she sought comfort in medicine after experiencing a total mental collapse, and the overdose was an act of desperation when she thought she had nothing else to cling to. Not long after that, a spokeswoman for Shelley Long denied the claims, saying that the incident was completely accidental. The statement clarifies that the woman had endured long-term back discomfort, and that the event was due to an accidental overdose of pain medicine rather than a deliberate overdose. Whatever the case may be, the harm has already been done. Tragic headlines, not her previous successes, were now linked with the once revered actress. Nothing had changed. Shelley Long had transformed into someone else entirely. She had gone from being a legendary actress at the height of her career to becoming the focus of tragic tales, her life defined by the tragedies that befell her rather than her talents or accomplishments. Shelley Long's impact on American comedy is unwavering, even though she departed Cheers at its prime. Not only did she play one of television's most iconic characters, Diane Chambers, but she also set the standard for female comedy roles to follow. Diane was more than simply a foil for the male protagonist. She possessed compelling qualities such as a fiery spirit, brilliant mind, and intriguing pride. And classic will they, won't they romance in television history was born out of the difference between Diane, an educated, snobbish, and vulnerable woman, and Sam Malone, an easygoing, attractive ladies' guy. Cheers' success persisted after Shelley Long left the show, thanks to Kirstie Alley's portrayal of Rebecca Howe. But nobody has ever definitively said that Diane or Rebecca was a superior Cheers co-star. There will never be anyone who can fully replace Diane Chambers, and this ongoing debate demonstrates how profound an effect she had on audiences. Cheers went on for 6 more seasons, but Diane's impact was still felt. Shelley Long's return for the series finale in 1993 helped bring Diane's plot to a close, and the 42.4 million people who tuned in made it one of the most watched series finales ever. Shelley Long's contributions to the reinvention of female comedy characters extended beyond Cheers. Her arrival changed the dynamic of television comedy, as female characters were previously expected to play the role of innocent, naive, or overly dramatic foils for the male protagonists. A new standard was broken by Diane Chambers. Being herself, intelligent, outspoken, and unapologetic, was nothing to her. A new breed of multifaceted female comedic characters might be born from her biting wit, which was loaded with weaknesses and vulnerabilities. No one would be exaggerating if they said that Friends' Rachel Green, How I Met Your Mother's Lily Aldrin, and Third Rock from the Sun's several brilliant female protagonists would not have existed if Diane Chambers hadn't been involved. Shelley Long contributed more than simply an iconic character. She also set a new standard for acting in sitcoms. Playing Diane Chambers called for a high level of physical humor and verbal dexterity, all while capturing the cerebral allure of the character. Diane, played by Shelley, was one of the most interesting and captivating comedy characters ever because of her perfect timing, expressive facial expressions, and capacity to combine humor with real emotion. In the span of only 5 seasons, she garnered several honors, including an Emmy, 2 Golden Globes, and numerous nominations for other prominent awards. Among the all-time great comedy characters, Diane Chambers is still widely acknowledged by both television reviewers and industry insiders, even after more than 40 years since the premiere of Cheers. Cheers would not have been as successful as it was without Shelley Long, as even Ted Danson acknowledged in an interview. Despite departing while the program was at its peak, she had set the stage for its enduring success, which enabled it to continue for an additional decade. Although Shelley Long did not enjoy the Hollywood success she had hoped for, her influence on television will go on. Diane Chambers is more than simply a character in the world of comedies. She is a watershed moment in the evolution of female characters in comedy, and a living testimony to Shelley Long's lasting impact on the industry through her masterful blending of physical and psychological acting. Shelley Long may have faded from Hollywood stardom, but that hasn't stopped her from dabbling in acting. She had a string of bad ventures under her belt until her career took off with the Brady Bunch movie, 1995. Shelley was pleasantly surprised when the picture became an unexpected success, collecting over $46 million at the box office and receiving great reviews from critics. She may never again be as famous as she was during her Cheers days, but she won over a whole new audience. For Shelley Long, the opportunity to re-establish a connection with a younger demographic did not present itself until she became a part of Modern Family from 2009 to 2018. She brought heart and humor to the role of Dee Pritchett, the quirky mother of Ed O'Neill's Jay Pritchett. The part, which Shelley played in just 8 episodes, was a reminder of her comic genius, the same quality that had made Cheers a hit in the past. Even more importantly, the Pritchett family reflected on Dee's various impacts throughout her goodbye, making it one of the most emotionally charged moments of Modern Family. At the same time, Shelley Long's career was entering a new period, and her once brilliant reputation was progressively melting away. Although Shelley Long still makes the odd TV cameo, she has virtually vanished from the Hollywood scene. You won't see them at major awards ceremonies, in throwback interviews, or at movie premieres. There have been several reunions of the Cheers cast for special events, but Shelley Long has never been there. She was the only legendary cast member who did not attend the show's 30th anniversary celebration in 2024. Shelley Long's disappearance has many people asking, where is she? Why has she become so estranged from her previous co-workers? In recent years, the only places you could catch a peek of Shelley Long are candid Los Angeles street shots rather than red carpet events. After a career in Hollywood, she downplayed her role and now lives a modest life, often seen walking her dog without any makeup or flashy dresses. Like any other lady in her 70s, Shelley Long appears remarkably inconspicuous now. Some may wonder if Shelley Long ever regrets leaving Cheers at its zenith, given that she is currently seen wandering peacefully through the streets after dominating television screens. She did not achieve the success she had dreamed of in the years that followed. Despite the ongoing success of her former co-stars like Ted Danson and Kelsey Grammer, Shelley Long has decided to fade into oblivion, abandoning the limelight that she so brilliantly controlled. Is this the tranquility she was hoping for when she left Cheers? Or is it just Hollywood's way of leaving her alone? A woman who was once at the top of her game but is now being pushed to the sidelines by the dynamic entertainment industry. Maybe the secret to the answer is known only to Shelley Long. Shelley Long was once a television superstar, earning a huge salary, 2 Golden Globes, and 5 Emmy nominations for her work in sitcoms. Everything changed, though, when she decided to depart Cheers in 1987. She went from being a TV star to a relative unknown in Hollywood as she sought solitude for personal reasons. However, Shelley Long's impact will go on forever. Among the best sitcoms of all time, Cheers is widely considered a classic, and Diane Chambers will never be replaced. Had she stayed, would her career have gone in a different direction, or was her decision always destined to be? Is Shelley Long's choice one you can get behind? Can you share a memorable moment from Cheers? Which would you rather have, Rebecca or Sam and Diane? Also, in your opinion, is Cheers the best comedy ever? To continue delving into the intriguing lives of Hollywood icons, press subscribe and leave a comment or join the conversation.